Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Emerald Coast. We're a lively bunch this morning.
Yes, we are.
It's a mouthful of a name. We call it UUFEC for short. I'm Amanda Pyburn, a member here and your service leader this morning. If you're visiting, and we have a number of visitors this morning, we're so glad you found us. Please fill out a visitor card by the front door, and we'll send you our weekly emailed newsletter. We look forward to talking with you over coffee and refreshments after the service. We are a people of many different paths and different beliefs who are brave, curious, and compassionate thinkers and doers. While diverse in age, ethnicity, and gender, we share the same values, centered on love and acceptance of all, and illustrated on the back of your order of service. Our goal is to open minds, inspire spiritual growth, and ignite a passion for social justice. You have found a space here, safe, where you are among friends. There are announcements in your order of service. The last one at the bottom, don't overlook that one. We raised $237 for our fundraiser, Healing Paws for Warriors, over the 4th of July. So congrats to those people for organizing that. There's also information on upcoming services and other upcoming events, so take a look. After the service today, after coffee, refreshments, conversation, we have a time we call second hour, small discussion groups. The possibilities are listed here in your order of service, and everyone is welcome to just pick one and show up. We have TED Talks led by Josh Ashley in the library through the double doors. What that is he gives you a selection of TED Talks. You decide which one you're interested in. Everyone watches it and discusses. Then we also have Speakers Circle, which just meets in a circle up here in the front, where you get a chance to talk to our speaker today, ask questions, and share insights about the topic. And now the prelude prepares us for the service. Catherine is going to light our chalice. She is visiting her Aunt Stacy this week. Words are written by Joshua Moore. As we light this flame, may the light it casts warm your heart and open your mind. And remember that this flame was given to us by those who came before us, kept burning with the deepest care. It is the living light of our living faith. May it burn away all the tiresome and needless things that keep us separate, and may its light guide us back to each other.
Good morning, friends. Our opening words are an adaptation from Khalil Gibran from a passage from the Prophet on teaching. No one can reveal to you anything but that which already lies half asleep in the dawning of your knowledge. The teacher who walks in the shadow of the temple among her followers gives not of her wisdom, but rather of her lovingness and faith. If she is indeed wise, she does not bid you enter the house of her own wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your own mind. The astronomer may speak to you of her understanding of space, but she cannot give you her understanding. The musician may sing to you of the rhythm which is in all space, but she cannot give you the ear which arrests the rhythm, nor the voice that echoes it. And she who is versed in the science of numbers can tell of the regions of weight and measures, but cannot conduct you thither. For the vision of one person lends not its wings to another. And even as each one of you stands alone in God's knowledge, in love's knowledge, so must each one of you be alone in your knowledge of God and your understanding of the earth.
Please join us for our first hymn, Spirit of Life, number 123 in your gray hymnal, or the words will be on the screen. It is the time for all ages. Kids are welcome to come up. Your choice, young at heart, welcome to come up. And Joshua has a story for you. Oh, Rachel does, yes.
Good morning, everyone. I'm reading a story today called The Dream Machine by Cherie Swineken. Okay. Who are you? Jamie asked as he awoke. Mama looked around the room as she entered. Who are you talking to? She asked. I was talking to my dream machine. Dream machine? What's that? It's a TV you watch in your sleep. What did you see on your dream screen? I saw a giant owl face, a puffy, fat faced owl, and he stared real hard at me like he was trying to tell me something. What do you think it means? It was just a dream, said Mamma. But he looked so hard at me with his big round eyes. It must mean something. Mamma fluffed Jamie's pillow and gave him a soft shove off the bed. It means it's time to get up, she said. But Jamie wasn't satisfied. I dreamed about a giant, puffy owl face. He told his dad at breakfast. What do you think it means? Means? Well, owls are wise, answered Dad. Maybe it means you better wise up and do what your old dad tells you. Dad joke. And then I don't really know. Today you get your shots for school, reminded Mama. Oh no, Jamie groaned. Do I have to? Mama rummaged through her purse and handed Jamie some shiny silver coins. You're old enough to pay for your own fare now, she said. As they went out the door, Jamie caught a whiff of Mama's yellow roses growing by the sidewalk. I wish I could stay home, he thought, looking back. Then they reached the bus stop near the church. They saw the minister getting out of her car. Good morning, Reverend Susan, Mama said. Good morning, she replied. Then she looked down at Jamie. And how are you, young man? Jamie is upset, Mama explained. About what? I dreamed about a giant, puffy owl face, Jamie told her. And I wonder what it means. Means? Asked the minister. Well, owls are wise. Perhaps it means God has something wise to tell you. But then, I don't really know. Here comes the bus, Mama said. Jamie reached into his pocket for the coins. They made a merry, jingly sound. He wished he could keep them there, but when he gave them to the driver, he felt proud. At last, after a long and bouncy ride, Mama and Jamie arrived at the doctor's office. And how are you, son? Asked Dr. Garcia. Jamie has a problem, Mama said. A problem? What problem? I dreamed about a giant puffy owl face, Jamie explained, and I wonder what it means. Means? Asked Jamie Garcia. Well, owls are wise. Perhaps it means you better not eat too many sweets, or you could get an abscessed tooth and your face would swell up round like that owl. After all the shots were over, Dr. Garcia's nurse gave Jamie a balloon. Jamie smiled. Red, my favorite color. When Jamie got home, he settled on the porch and began to puff at the balloon. He puffed and puffed and puffed, and he thought, no one really knows what my owl dream means. Then his eyes lit up. Old Mrs. Murphy has lived forever. She must know everything. I'll go ask her. Mrs. Murphy was sitting on her porch next door, enjoying the summer breeze. The wind chimes tinkled cheerfully. The palm fronds made a sizzling sound. Hi, said Jamie. Mrs. Murphy looked up. Hello there, Jamie. How are you today? I'm all mixed up about my dream. I dreamed about a giant owl face. It was fat and puffy, and he stared at me. What do you think it means? Mrs. Murphy looked at him thoughtfully. Jamie waited for her to explain. How would he know whose answer was right? Then she laughed and said, I think it means you are a lucky boy to have such a pleasant dream. Oh, said Jamie, and then he knew the answer. And then he laughed also. Hoo, hoo, hoo! All right.
The sharing of joys, and concerns is a tradition in our fellowship. Everyone is welcome to come up, drop a pebble into the bowl of water, either silently or while speaking a few words into the microphone. If you choose to speak, we respectfully ask that you limit your remarks to just a sentence or two, leaving time for all who wish to share. This is a sacred time for us.
Sorry. I know with so much going on, it can seem like we never get a moment to just sit still and to breathe. And so I would like to sit with y'all and just breathe for a moment. And then after we breathe silently, I will close with a reading. This is by Rumi. Seekers on a pilgrimage to the house of God, where are you going? Where are you? Your beloved is here. Come back. Your beloved lives next door. Your beloved is right behind the wall. Why are you wandering round and round, lost in the desert? Look beyond form. Look into the faceless face of love. You are that love. You are the house, the dwelling place of love, and its maker. You've traveled 10 times to see the house of God. You've described it in great detail, all its exquisite features. Now, tell me about the God inside. For once, enter your own house. Climb to the roof. If you saw the garden, then where are the flowers? If you swam from God's sea, then where is the soul's pearl? Searching for treasure, you've endured so much trouble. Hear this truth. You are the treasure and the veil hiding it.
After our song of dedication, the greeters will take up the offering. Generosity is a spiritual practice. Our fellowship is supported by our pledges and donations. If you pay your pledge with a check, please make a note on the memo line. For our Share the Plate tradition, we split equally all cash donations and checks not marked as pledges with a local charity. For the month of July, our Share the Plate partner is our own UUFEC food pantry right out in front of the building. Bill and Kathy White keep it stocked year-round, and our donations help to make this possible.
This is a song by the late, great Phil Lesh of the Grateful Dead. Look out of any window, any morning, any evening, any day. Maybe the sun is shining, birds are winging, no rain is falling on a heavy sky. What do you want me to do for you, to see you through? For this is all a dream we dreamed one afternoon long ago. Walk out of any doorway, feel your way like the day before. Maybe you'll find direction around some corner where it's been waiting to meet you. What do you want me to do? To watch for you while you're sleeping? And please don't be surprised when you find me dreaming too. Look into any eyes you find by you. You can see clear through to another day. Maybe you've seen before through other eyes on other days while going home. What do you want me to do for you, to see you through? It's all a dream we dreamed one afternoon so long ago. Walk into splintered sunlight, inch your way through dead dreams to another land. Maybe you're tired, you're broken, your tongue is twisted with words half spoken and thoughts unclear. What do you want me to do? To do for you, to see you through. A box of rain will ease the pain and love will see you through. Just a box of rain, wind, and water. Believe it if you need it. If you don't, just pass it on. Sun and shower, wind and rain. In and out a window like a moth before a flame. And it's just a box of rain. I don't know who put it there. Believe it if you need it, or leave it if you dare. And it's just a box of rain, or a ribbon for your hair. Such a long, long time to be gone, and a short time to be there. Thank you so much for letting me play that song. We lost Phil last year, and then we lost Bobby just recently. So it's on my heart. If you don't know, I'm a deadhead. Now you do. That was my first religious tradition before finding this one. So a long, long time ago, before time, before life, before the earth was much more than a vast and swirling ocean, her waters roiling and acidic, still glowing hot from her own birth. Bathed in ultraviolet, the moon loomed large in the sky. No atmosphere to speak of. The earth back then was a hot, chaotic mess, to be sure. And yet, deep below the surface, at the bottom of the ocean, in the darkest depths, something was happening. Something, a process that still happens to this day, what we call serpentinization. There you go. A mineral called olivine, found in deep sea mantle rock, drinks in the water. And in so doing, it releases hydrogen gas and a lot of heat. And it makes the water strongly alkaline. This process turns the rocks green, a snake skin stone we call serpentine. The Earth's mantle, her body, drinks in the seawater, and in return exhales hydrogen into the ocean, growing warm green stones deep down at the bottom. And as this alkaline, hydrogen-rich fluid makes its way up to the seafloor, it forms these enormous mineral towers called alkaline hydrothermal vents. These giant vents form gentle, warm incubators for life. Their chimneys honeycombed with microscopic pores, the nursery where all life on Earth began. Imagine two waters meeting through a thin stone wall. One water from below, hot, mineral rich, seeping up from serpent-skinned stone, and one water from above, the acidic and roiling ocean. The wall between the waters is honeycombed, cell-sized, laced with iron and sulfur. And because the waters have different chemistries, different pHs, the wall in between them holds a charge, a voltage, a tiny battery born of the earth, humming in the deep dark. As you sit here now, 4 billion years later, every single cell in your body works the same way. Every living cell that has ever been is a membrane with a charge across it, with protons flowing through a tiny turbine that spins as they pass. That is how we make the energy to be alive at all. That is what a heartbeat actually is deep down underneath. Trillions of turbines spinning on proton power. And that mechanism, the chemistry of it, it's not something that life invented or something that came out of nothing. No, it's something that life inherited. Life swam out of the vents and took the vents with it. Friends, you and I are right now running on the same electrochemistry that started running in the deep dark of the Hadean Ocean 4 billion years ago. That electricity, that charge of life has never stopped. It's flowing through you right now. All of this, the warm chimneys, the humming batteries, the first turning of the electrical current that would eventually become every single heartbeat, all of it happened in the darkness. There was no sunlight yet, not as we know it, not for even 2 billion years. Just water, rock, and the breath of the earth. Inhaling water through serpentine stone and exhaling rich, hot alkaline fluid. In and out. And long before we knew any of this, long before anyone had ever heard of a hydrothermal vent, a proton, or a membrane, people like you and I reached into the darkness for their own explanations of how things began. In the Hebrew Bible, the author of Genesis says it this way, and I render it like this. When God began to create heaven and earth, the earth was wild and unformed. The darkness was on the face of the deep, and the breath of God moved over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. The God of the author of Genesis, who he calls Elohim, is worth lingering on a moment. It's common for us living within a predominantly Christian or post-Christian culture to ourselves knowingly or unknowingly to internalize and go to the Christian interpretation of Genesis, or to see Elohim as being the same deity that is so commonly invoked by Christians in their prayer, or daily uttered as a curse or exclamation, the God of, "Oh my God," or "God help me." But the colloquial God, drawn from Christian culture, is not at all the God of the author of Genesis. At least the author wouldn't have seen it that way. Elohim is transcendent, but not distant. Like many of his contemporaries, the gods of the Babylonians, for example, to which the early Hebrew tribes were intimately aware of, like them, Elohim took an active role in the affairs of heaven and earth. But unlike the Babylonian warrior god Marduk, for example, who is said to have subdued and killed the raging, chaotic, roiling, primordial serpent of the deep oceans called Tiamat, Elohim did not conquer the deep waters. Instead, this god spoke to the deep. Marduk had split Tiamat into pieces, thus creating the world with the material of her carcass. In Genesis, however, we get a far less violent beginning. A beginning of relationship, of the divine working with the deep, dark ocean that was already here. This is why void isn't exactly the right word, which is often how this is translated. The ocean wasn't empty. It was pregnant. Out of the deep, tehom in Hebrew, grows all that we know. the primordial seas as maternal fountain of all life. And the catalyst of this growth, the breath of God, ruach in Hebrew, which means breath, wind, spirit, all three at once. And then what happens? Light is spoken into the world. Energy, life, a spark. It isn't hard to see, I think, how much these stories seem to echo one another. Not to suggest that Genesis predicted our scientific discoveries. It isn't that simple, clean, or cute. But something real, some deep and symbolic DNA is shared here. We draw different maps for the same territory. And yet, they share curious contours, don't they? The father of the modern study of religious experience, lifelong seeker and mystic William James, taught that we can't dismiss religious experiences just because they resist ordinary tools of scientific measurement. These experiences and the beliefs that arise from them happen to real people. They change lives. They produce real effects that we can observe. And any honest search into what is real also has to take these experiences seriously as data, not fantasy. James asked, not is the belief true in the way a scientific claim is true, but what does this belief do in the life of the one who holds it? What does it make possible? Instead of arguing whether the creation story in Genesis actually happened as it was written, we might instead ask, what does it offer? What does the story mean for those who believe it? This is the side of religion that we as UUs often avoid. I mean, what does it mean to actually hold and engage with religious beliefs themselves? We know and talk a lot about the social side of religion, the community component, covenanting together, the cultural aspect too. But what does it actually feel like to engage with religious belief? And what does this engagement offer? So let me say plainly what I've been building to. Mysticism, as I understand it, is not about believing in things that aren't there. It isn't an escape from the real world or a fantasy about another. Mysticism is the practice of living into a description of the world, inhabiting a way of seeing until it becomes the world. You actually live in, it becomes the world you actually live in, the world that you experience. It is what happens when you stop asking whether the description is real and start asking what that description makes possible. Mystic practice, in this sense, is practical. And I want to suggest now that this is what we have already been doing this morning. When we let ourselves feel that the deep, dark ocean is our mother, that the current running in our cells is the same current that started in a stone chimney in the Hadean Sea 4 billion years ago. We're not making a scientific claim. The science does its own work. We here are doing something else, layered on top of the science. We are living into it. We are letting the description become a place that we inhabit. And something changes in us when we do. And people do this every day, maybe without thinking about it or even noticing what they're doing. Mystics are just people with time and privilege to develop an intentional practice of it. But to demystify the topic for a second, We, for example, as you use, don't simply believe that love should be at the center of our lives as we see it depicted in our order of service. We also come together in covenant to live into that belief. You don't have to believe in gravity for it to hold you down. Just try. But to truly make love real in the world, to put it at the center of our lives, we have to act as if we truly believe it. Does that make sense? Good. Like William James, I too am a lifelong seeker and consider myself a mystic. And in my own exploration of living into mystic practice, I have tried on a few different descriptions of the world. However, my trusted friend and teacher Tyson Casey recently encouraged me to limit myself to just 3 mystic maps. Life is too short, he said, to worry about any more than that. As many of you may know, I come from a conservative Christian home. And when I left their world behind, I ran away from their faith too. And because of that upbringing, it has always been a bit of a struggle to live into the idea of a monotheistic God, like I was raised with. So when I find myself still seeking, still reaching out for something bigger than myself, I find it much easier to reach for a polytheistic divine, a whole pantheon of gods. Getting to know recently the Hellenistic Greek gods even more and learning to live into what it means to believe in them has provided me with a way to focus on one aspect or another, narrowing the field, so to speak. It has meant discovering that it's a lot easier, for example, to meditate on something simple and direct instead of praying to a big, unseen, unknowable God. Like when I need to summon the courage needed to do the right thing, even when it's hard, I invoke the sun god Apollo, asking the bees to carry my message to him as is proper, as they are his messengers. Or when I'm scared at night, awakened by a nightmare, I invoke Hecate, who has dominion over every shadowy thing that might lurk in the corners of my room. I could, like many modern mystics and ritual practitioners, call these God forms or archetypal energies or something like that. But when I engage with the gods themselves, I just call them gods and give them the respect that I think they're due. And when I use their old names, the names they have been known by for millennia, and when I engage them in the old ways, something magical happens. I can feel their presence as surely as I feel you here now. And I can feel myself change to transform into a different version of myself, a version that is braver, kinder, more resilient. And as I have become more acquainted with the many faces of the divine, my Buddhist practice has taught me to live into the oneness of all things. No matter how separate or lonely I might feel, trouble sleeping at 3 a.m. in the morning, I know that I am not truly separate from anything. The Vietnamese Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, holding up a piece of paper, once said, "This paper was already here in the form of a tree, of the sun, of a cloud. Without the sun, without the rain, the tree would not have lived, and there would be no piece of paper. I touch the sun. When I touch this paper, I also touch the clouds. There is a cloud floating in this paper. You do not have to be a poet to see it." And when I sit in my meditative practice and I really allow myself to feel what that kind of interconnection, that interbeing, as Buddhists call it, what it actually feels like, When I live into that description, I no longer feel small or alone. But what does it mean even to be one with everything? Maybe you can imagine the paper and all the things that it was before becoming paper, but what does that mean for how we might live? How we might live into the description of interbeing, of oneness. In my own life, I have found the answer within Sufism, transmitted to me through the poetry of mystics like Rumi, whom we heard from earlier. Sufis, mystics from the Islamic tradition, took the monotheism of Islam, the oneness of Allah, called Tawhid, as an expansive oneness that encompassed all that is, all that was, and all that ever will be. They experienced this oneness through twirling, whirling dance, through singing and playing, and through their poetry. And they called the oneness the beloved. And they pour their love-sick hearts out to the beloved, likening themselves to intimate lovers, their connection to God, to the bigger us, seen as an epic romance, the romance of the ages. To connect with the divine in this sense is to fall maddeningly head over heels in love with all there is, until there truly is nothing separating us. And when I let myself live into the beloved, the whole world becomes something I am in relationship with. Every squirrel outside my window, every stranger on the sidewalk, every dark corner of my room, all of it becomes an invitation to fall in love again and again. So let me ask you something. When I am awakened in my bed, frozen in place, unable to lift a finger, shadowy figures hovering around, descending onto my body, pressing me down, choking me, terrifying me, as has happened since I was young. Do you think that it helps me to know that this phenomenon is called sleep paralysis, where my muscles are still caught in REM sleep, unable to move an inch, my mind wide awake? Do you think it helps to know that my amygdala is lighting up with excess activity, causing stress, anxiety, and panic? No. What helps is this. First, I envision and draw a circle of power around me, calling in the four elements as I pass each cardinal point, reciting earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. And with the circle cast, I focus inward, drawing on my Buddhist meditation practice. I acknowledge my fears, my stress, and my terror. I greet them like the beloved. And then I let them flow gently down the river of time. And as my heart and mind grow still, I envision a bright light growing in my belly, a great love growing in my heart cave. And I feel it spread first into my core and then out to my arms and legs. And then, filled with my own light, I pray to the bees, the sun's messengers, to summon their master Apollo, to bless me with his radiant light, a light that can pierce any darkness. And in the name of Apollo, with his blessing, I tell the shadows to be gone. For no shadow can remain in the full light of the sun. And as surely as I am standing here in front of you now, the shadows are dispersed. The haunting is lifted. I'm able to move again, to stretch, to breathe. And then, for protection in my sleep, I summon Hecate, source of all magic, keeper of mysteries, ruler of the realm of night and shadow. And she comes, as she always does, as we are old friends. She already knows what I need. And as she does every time, she settles over me, a darkness that cradles me, protects me, and ushers me back to sleep. Friends, this is the message. Fighting the nightmare, being swallowed by sleep paralysis, it got me nowhere. What is there even to do in that situation? But our ancestors had different ways of dealing with hauntings like mine. They knew and understood how to relate to them, how to meet the moment in harmony with the moment, not fighting against it, in harmonizing with it, living into the belief that I was being haunted by a demon, a ghost, a shadow, whatever word. Living into it allowed me agency. It gave me a map for how to navigate this terrifying territory. And it's my hope for you now that you will go out and explore all sorts of maps, all sorts of descriptions about the world, not for how real or materially concrete they are, but for what they can offer you, what they can offer our community. And who knows, maybe you'll discover some powerful ancestral way for dealing with the many monsters that haunt our world even now. May it be so, and amen. Would you please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, Morning Has Broken, number 38 in the Gray Hymnal.
As we extinguish this chalice, know that it will not stay extinguished. It will continue to be lit over and over again, as long as fellowships like ours continue to gather in love and hope. And this light, you know it will not stay here. You take it with you wherever you go. And when the time comes to shine and the thunder is roaring, you will know. Please stay seated for the benediction and then the postlude.
Friends, it is my hope that you go today with the earth in your body, with the water in your blood, with the air in your breath, and fire in your spirit.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you to all those who made this morning's service possible. And since you don't want to go out in the rain, you might as well stay for coffee, refreshments, and second hour. Thank you for coming. Gosh, what a